Newsfirst Newsline with Faraz Shauketaly.
And a jolly good morning to you. This is Newsline, live from the Newsfirst studios in Dawson Street in Colombo. And before we introduce our guest, who is, by the way, a director at the Asian Human Rights Commission based in Hong Kong, Mr. Basil Fernando, we'd like to share with you a fascinating map that a senior person in this organization sent to us. There you go, there's that map. It's in several distinctive colors here, and what it shows you is that in the North America, South America and Australia altogether, there are about 1 billion people. But if you just look at the Indian subcontinent, just a few countries there, they make up 1 billion people. So it may actually change your perspective on how you see the world. But the whole of Africa, is there 1 billion people there? No, there isn't. So that's how it is. And we thought we'd share that bit of a fascinating map. I have another one for you tomorrow, by the way. So it's a great pleasure to welcome this morning onto our set Mr. Basil Fernando. Welcome back to Sri Lanka, Mr. Fernando. And I thought I'll ask you, the final report of the Consultation Task Force on Reconciliation Mechanisms is out. And there is some sort of constellation. People are getting a little bit excited. Mainly, I had several calls yesterday from different people, and they all seem to be focusing on the one thing. They said, oh my God, this report, this recommendation is proposing that we have hybrid courts and foreign judges. And what on earth is going on? The President says we're not going to have that. And the Prime Minister says we're only going to have a participatory process. So what's going on? So I thought, Basil Fernando is in town, let's ask him. What's going on?
Yeah, first of all, you know, the Consultation Task Force report is not a final report, it's just a preliminary report.
Okay.
And the very beginning itself, they say that they are not making extensive recommendations themselves.
Right.
It is merely a collection of ideas of various people whom they have listened to.
Right.
So it's not at a stage where the recommendations have matured enough.
Right.
To a particular sharp point.
Yeah.
For that very reason, this whole discussion, which has created some kind of controversies on this hybrid court, I think should require a little bit of thinking.
Right.
Now, I would like to look at the whole thing from particularly 3 points of view. One is purely a point of view of law and justice. After all, the idea of the court is to mete out justice at the end.
Indeed.
If it fails, then all this talks is not worth nothing.
Correct.
So a court can deliver justice only if its judges meet the requirements of judges of that type.
Right.
That from their education, from their experience, from their above all their integrity and commitment to justice and nothing else.
Right.
Let the heavens fall, justice will prevail.
Indeed.
That's the motto.
Yeah.
So if we can find such judges from Sri Lanka, find them. There is nothing special to bring somebody from outside.
Yeah.
But if we can't find them, or we can't find all of them here, then we should either bring them from somewhere else, or you should not do this at all, because there are only two kinds of courts.
Right.
That is courts of justice or kangaroo courts.
Right.
What we don't want to have is a kangaroo court.
Right.
So that is what we have got to avoid. In order to do that, the advertise the qualities and get the people from wherever it is. This is not about genes.
Right.
This is not about your color or which country you are coming from. Judge has no nationality.
Right.
Judge has nothing else.
Because justice is no nationality.
That is why there's a blindfolded image of the court. That is because once you sit as a judge, you don't belong to the normal categories of whether you are Sri Lankan, whether you are Indian, whether you are anything. There are many courts all over the world where there are mixture of people. For example, Hong Kong. As a matter of practice, in the Supreme Court, the highest courts, you have two people always from developed jurisdiction.
Right.
Idea is to keep the quality. So what we should have a quality of justice that nobody can challenge.
I see. Yes.
It will not listen to governments. It will not fear any repercussions.
Yes.
It will just do justice, and if they can't do it, they will say we can't do it here. So we can't do something false.
So if I could put it like in a different perspective, because we are the real religion of this country is a religion called cricket, and everybody understands that. So it's a bit like what you're saying is that it's a bit like importing a foreign coach to teach our chaps to do something a little bit better. Is it a bit like that?
Yeah, of course, a judge sitting together will not be like a coach having a superior position.
Right.
It is just, putting the quality high. So a same example, how to get our cricketers to play under international rules, so they can win, the matches.
You win the World Cup again.
And build the prestige that they are capable of the same quality as anybody else.
Indeed.
And this is happening in many other fields. See how many engineers are in this country who are foreigners. Suppose you tell no engineers should come from abroad. What will happen to all these Chinese enterprises? They bring their own people. Chinese are only one, but everybody else onto their enterprises, they bring their engineers. We have medical teams in which people are playing, and this is happening all the time in every field. Suppose we one day say all foreigners cannot participate in this anything at all. What will become of us? In the world today, nowhere it is like that.
Right.
So there is some absurdity in this whole discussion.
Right. Right.
Second thing, there is nothing that is uniquely of greater value by calling hybrid. See, hybrid is a term that should be used for animals and this breeding. So this has nothing to do with breeding. See, mere fact that you add a foreign judge to a team of others do not make it a good court. Best example is something where I know very well, because I myself was present in Cambodia, where there was an experiment of so-called hybrid court. It was a complete failure. And the experts, like Jeffrey Robinson, and them consider this as something that should not even be talked about.
Right.
Because the issue is to ensure quality. If the quality can be ensured through what we have in our talent and in our, so much the better. Otherwise, open it up like any other employment opportunity.
Right.
And ensure that those people abide by quality. Of course, if somebody is, suppose there is a fear, somebody, foreigner, may try to bring an agenda into this. Judges don't bring agendas. Because judges don't have nationality.
Yes, that's fair comment. But what about, foreign judges? Is it in line with our constitution?
Well, that is simply a matter that can be brought by a small amendment.
Right.
Right? Because it is not such a fundamental issue.
Right.
Many courts in the world have foreign judges.
Yeah.
And many developing countries in the past deliberately brought them in order to raise their quality.
Right.
Some of our judges, people who were from our Supreme Court, are in other courts. For example, in Fiji.
Right.
There are so many of our judges, even the sitting judges, from the...
well, actually, we're talking about Fiji. Somebody who was part of the Capital Maharaja group, Mr. Ian Wickramanayake, who was a former bribery commissioner, he actually served as, I think he was the chief prosecutor for the western part of Fiji. So yeah, absolutely
many others, Upon Seapa was one of in the International Court of Justice.
Yeah.
He was a prosecutor, prestigious prosecutor.
Yeah.
So this is nothing new. Sri Lankans have played parts in other courts.
Yes.
Other people also can do the same thing.
Yes.
So the idea that any foreigner is a bias is, I think, a very false notion.
But it's a false notion that may give a lot of political life to people who want to create a bit of vote grabbing.
Yeah, so that is that is what I said, that on the one hand you get the actual substantial issue.
Yes.
Second is a political issue.
Yes.
Politically, when the opposition try to say that there will be foreign judges who will put our national heroes into jail.
Yes.
And carry on that kind of so naturally the government will be embarrassed in position and say no, we are not going to have them.
Right.
That's a political debate, and these are not issues that politicians can decide purely on political terms.
But would
judiciary is not something to be decided on political terms.
Does such amendments, like say to permit the use of foreign judges, to give life to their participation, for whatever reason, to increase the quality, to bring some balance, whatever reason, would such amendments to the Constitution, would it need a 2/3 majority in Parliament?
Well, if it is an amendment to the Constitution itself, it will need a 2/3 majority.
Yeah.
But then the government has a 2/3 majority. You can have it for the budget. You can have it also for
the budget. You don't have to talk about the budget. They haven't been able to get anything right. The budget's always being amended.
Yeah.
This must be the only country in the world where we have amendments in the budget every
so the
time.
question is about amendments.
Yes.
See, amendment is not a problem.
Right.
See, amendments are all the time something that we do.
Yeah.
So the question is that the independence of judiciary does not imply that only local judges should sit in a court, because this local and international has not, this function of the judge. Why this blindfolded image is that they simply don't have nationalities, their genes don't matter, they go by certain quality, and this is the only profession of that type.
Right.
Where we don't give any other thing, justice. Let the heaven falls, justice be done. And that's their motto. They cannot say, I think in this way, my politics is like this, my ancestry is like this. There's nothing to do with or any other matter. Astrology is like this. There's nothing to do with any of these.
But part of this recommendations, this final thing from the task force, it says here that a majority of submissions state that they must A. establish the truth, determine the root cause of conflict, hold perpetrators of violations to account, achieve equal rights, build multiple narratives of history, make recommendations for non-recurrence, and enable victims to seek redress for violations and abuses. These are all, great, noble and necessary causes. But how long is it going to take to achieve all this? This is a whole new
out
industry.
Out of all this, what is essential and what is the essential beginning are the investigations.
Right.
You cannot establish truth without investigation.
Right.
See, before we talk about judges, what we should emphasize is to begin the investigations, because whenever there is a crime reported, there is an absolute obligation to begin investigations immediately. And the crimes reported is one of the most heinous crimes, that is the enforced disappearances. So this is already being, people have complained. So the obligation of the government is already there to begin investigations. And if the investigations bring up the truth, either way, whether in favor of the complaint or against, that determines what next.
Indeed.
So we should first emphasize all our efforts onto the one first step, which is simply you cannot avoid stepping, that is the issue of investigation.
So why is it that in Sri Lanka we tend to be, we can't seem to go step by step? Why is it that we're missing a few steps along the way? Because
we do not go, that's very, very, very essential issue that you have raised.
Yes.
Our experts, and even in the people who are in the transitional justice and all that, they look at books, but doesn't go to the contextual issue. Here in this country, what is it that is missing? What is wrong, even not only regarding crimes relating to the war or whatever, civil war, but normal crimes. Our investigative system is in a serious crisis. Whether it be a normal murder or a rape case, it takes, if you make a complaint, it doesn't mean that there will be an investigation. Sometimes there can be, in many cases it don't happen.
Right.
So there is something wrong in our basic criminal justice system. In this basic system, we should make use of this opportunity in dealing with this larger issue, to deal with our normal system. Correct this, because it is in terms of everybody's interest. If something happened to me today, it is in my interest that there is a system where complaint can be made and complaints will be investigated.
But
instead of borrowing few terms from somewhere and putting it into fixing into every report, look at the local situation and see what is wrong with the local situation. Make a critique of the local situation. If you are not happy with the local judiciary to be able to be doing this job, make a proper critique of that and say why we are unhappy.
Well, whilst you're saying all this, we've had a few SMSs. One of them is quite true. It's obviously some sort of political person. It says here, I don't think President Sirisena's SLFP can vote for it, as in foreign judges, hybrid courts. Minority Pax's lot vote. Then the JVP vote. So, is it ever going to start? That's one point. And another one, it says here, main allegation. Do you think that the military killed over 40,000 people?
The first issue, now you say this party may not want, this party may not want, this party may not want. No question is asked, will the people want? Right? Would the people want justice, or people will want a farce?
Right.
Put this question to the people. Do you want a farce? Some kind of a thing, you just do bluff, and at the end either people will get acquitted or convicted.
Right.
See, we don't want courts that are committed to convicting people or to committed to acquitting people beforehand.
Right.
See, it is all depending on justice. Do you want a justice court or do you want some bluff? So this is a matter for the people, primarily, and the people. If the people begin to demand, all these parties will have to listen. Political parties listen to people. Here we have the other way. We borrow our ideas from the political parties. The whole nature of democracy is to get the people to say what they want from the political party.
Indeed, indeed.
And that should not be turned the other way.
As
How
for
many
the
people
40,000
have been killed or not by the military is not something that I can say or anybody can say. It's only the investigations can say.
So there we go back again to the point.
The investigation. If the investigations show nobody was killed, that means nobody was killed.
Right.
If the investigation said not 40,000 but it more than was killed, then that means that that is a number. So let us not be guessed.
Yeah.
This is not the job of speculation.
Yeah.
You don't speculate on crimes.
Yeah.
You investigate crimes.
Right.
And it's a serious art, serious science to investigate
But
crimes.
this is, yes, this serious art and on this science is again, we're missing the steps because, for example, on corruption we've had several allegations pre-election, and then in post-election, 2 years later, we find that they've not made any substantial or significant progress, or progress where the people can see that progress has happened. So that seems to be a systemic flaw.
Because I think in the Sri Lankan mentality,
Yeah.
there is almost an inability to going beyond the surface politics into realities of how things happen.
Yeah.
Everything is just for the newspaper or the media or the talk,
Right.
not about how get things done. Justice is something that is being done by people involved in justice. That is investigators, prosecutors, judges. These are the people who do justice. Politicians don't do justice. In fact, fighting against the injustices done by the politicians is how the Justice Project came about. In England, you have to fight against the king.
Yes.
To an extent that ultimately the first head of the state to be killed was in England,
Yeah.
in search of justice.
Indeed.
So justice will not ever come from the hands of politicians alone. If the whole country can be run by only politicians, then we don't need any other profession. We don't need accountants. We don't need engineers. We don't need doctors.
Yeah.
We can have only politicians.
Or
What
super
is-
minister.
Why is this limited, such a narrow, such a stupid position that we are taking? Let the people who do justice,
Right.
and let the people rely on them. If the people lose reliance on the justice mechanism,
Yeah.
we are finished. And that is the issue we should really address. Do we want anarchy to prevail in this country? Lawlessness to prevail in this country?
Yeah.
Or do we want rule of law back?
Yeah.
Now that's the kind of issue that should be the central issue that is in these reports, and all the center must be
Yeah.
what is happening to the rule of law. Will this court, whichever the court, be respected within the framework of rule of law? Will they help stabilize this country?
Yeah.
A country that is safe for everybody,
Yeah.
safe for the people to speak out, participate. Will that happen, or is it just going to be, people living in fear, afraid, the next time? Oh, let us limit the role of the politicians.
But also, I'm not sure. Yes, that sounds a jolly good thing. However, what about this? The UN. We had Ban Ki-moon's panel that alleged that over 40,000 people were killed in Sri Lanka's war. As yet, 7 years after the end of the war, we still don't know how the United Nations reached that conclusion. Was it some statement made by a former UN staffer in a book? and that has now suddenly become sort of received wisdom, and everybody's talking about 40,000.
See, unfortunately, we don't have the right to make that judgment on this UN committee because we did not give them access to this country. If the investigator, United Nations is a body in which we are member state.
Yes, but remember that same argument. If you remember, during the completely lopsided invasion of Iraq, and also in Afghanistan, but mainly in Iraq, the Americans actually paid a firm of public relations to put out completely the wrong news.
But in the same the Committee of the United Nations, investigation into the weapons of mass destruction said that there is no evidence to that there is such weapons.
Well, they lied.
The United Nations report was that there is no ground to attack Iraq.
Indeed.
So these are public relations officers can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
But United Nations is not a public relations office.
Yeah, no. The point I'm trying to make is that the US didn't allow the real news to get out of Iraq, which is otherwise they would have had all of us journalists out there doing what we want. But instead of that, they fixed the news.
So we should not do the same.
Yeah, we didn't do the same, excepting I think that the Sri Lankan government didn't allow any journalists, any media to go out there. There could be a variety of reasons. As a journalist, of course, I say, well, no, we'd like to go there, and we would have wanted to be part of it. And in retrospect, it would have served the Sri Lankan government better had the media had access to those areas.
Yeah, but I'm not referring merely to when the actions were going on.
Yeah.
The UN made the request afterwards.
Indeed.
And say that we are undertaking an investigation. We want to tell the truth. Give us access. At the end, we will be based on the facts we have. So, they were denied of that. So they had other sources outside, and they relied on those sources. So had we given the access, they could have come to various conclusions. But I think to speculate on that is of no use now.
Yes.
Now it can be done by us.
Yeah.
It can be done by investigators in this country.
Yeah.
Let there be a proper, credible investigation. Let the investigation be allowed, and let them be given all the facilities, forensic and other facilities, and access to victims. Victims to have access to the investigators.
Yes, but it sounds as though, Mr. Fernando, 7 years after the end of a war that lasted 30 plus years, Sri Lanka is creating or has already created a brand new industry to find in search of the truth and so on. In the meantime, the people out there, the victims of the war, whether they are Tamil, Sinhalese, Muslim or so on, those victims and the people who are alive, they continue to suffer. They don't have proper housing, they don't have proper facilities, their dignity is gone out through the window. So isn't it incumbent upon all of us to try and restore some dignity to these people, rather than wallow in this, in all this misery of the past? Isn't the future where the light is?
The greatest assault on the dignity of a victim or victim's family is to deny the truth of what happened to the victim. You cannot resolve that by any other means, by giving various kinds of facilities, which are all necessary. Nobody disagrees on the fact that infrastructural and other things should be made, but that will not restore dignity to a person. If my brother was killed and I don't know what happened, and he was taken to, he was arrested, then thereafter disappeared. I am going to suffer all my life with that idea. What happened? And that goes into the very depth of my own dignity. If it happens to me, the same. Justice is more important to a nation than anything else. And that is what we in this country, we are rapidly forgetting. We had that idea, you know, up to at least before the 78 Constitution.
Yeah.
We had that idea. Justice is fundamental. Without justice, we will not have a sense of dignity at all. If I go into the road and anything can happen to me, what kind of dignity do I have? So today we are bringing the whole nation suffers from the fact that we are unable to have a kind of at least a system of justice where we can say, yeah, everything fails, politicians fail, everybody fails. At least in the sacred vicinity of a court of justice, we get justice.
On that note, Basil Fernando, thank you very much for being on Newsline. Thank you for having watched Newsline. Have a great day ahead. Take care and God bless.